Hi everybody, it's Kendrick. A new video for you today. Uh, Came to me as an idea because, as you guys may or may not know, my favorite band in the whole wide world of all time is Rush. And yesterday, I was watching Cinema Strangiato, which was something I was waiting for all year, but they had made it available for home viewing. So I was able to get a chance to watch that. And basically, Cinema Strangiato is like R40, the R40 show with more extras. And so what I did while I was watching was I thought to myself, if I were to choose one song from every Rush studio album, what would it be? Basically, it would be like, what is my favorite one song from each Rush album? And I did that, and I have made a playlist. The link will be in the description below for those who don't know any of these songs but want to hear it. This is my opinion. It is just my opinion, by the way. So, so if you want to disagree, you can disagree. But so I made a playlist of one of my one favorite song from each Rush album, and this video is going to go through each and every one of them. So here we go. So the first Rush album is entitled Rush, for obvious reasons, because that's the band's name. It's a self-titled debut album. It's not quite the same as every Rush album thereafter, because this is more of a hard rock, straight up hard rock album. And the songs that are well known from it are Finding My Way and Working Man. But my favorite song from this album is actually In the Mood. There are actually quite a few good songs here, but I chose In the Mood. Why? Because it is, very rock and roll-y kind of song. Not at all synonymous with Rush. And so that's about all I could say about that. I just really like the way that the song was put together. Because it's so not like Rush, obviously. And I don't know to what extent then drummer John Rutsey had to do with this song, with the writing of this song. But it is more of, it's less of Rush, really. It's not really Rush. It's like more rock and roll. So let's talk about the next album, Fly By Night. Fly By Night, my chosen track from Fly By Night is Bytor and the Snow Dog, because it's long and it's it's got like this long instrumental break. It's like got this long instrumental break in the middle where everybody gets to flex on the on their instrument and how well they show off their chops. And also, it's the first time, if I remember correctly, it's the first time where there's kind of it's like a story. The music, the song, the track is telling you a story. And strangely enough, Bytor and the Snow Dog is a story that Neil Peart came up with when he saw two dogs that I think was owned by Ray Daniels, their manager. So Bytor and the Snow Dog were actually two dogs that were owned by their manager. That's a little fact for you. Next album, Caress of Steel. Now, if everything goes to plan, I'm probably gonna have the album cover on the lower corner, either corner. So it's gonna be the Caress of Steel, ding, over there. I chose Lakeside Park. I like the song as well. I think it's not as, it's one of those sort of straightforward rock and roll songs. It's not at all like progressive-y. I mean, it might still be, but like it's like a, and the lyrics are kind of nice because it's like sort of reminiscing about how a place that Neil grew up in, and like when he what things were like when he was a kid. So that is it. And that's really good. It's really good content. I mean, the lyrics are really nice. Again, the link to the playlist is on the description below, so that you guys can like give it a listen. It's about 2 hours long, probably, because our next album is 2112, and of course, I chose Tears. Actually, I should have chosen Tears. This is one of the first albums from Rush, or I don't know. I couldn't choose one track. So I decided to make the playlist like longer. I chose 2112 because you know what? It's not against the rules. Technically 2112 is one song, 20 minutes long. It's one song. So, and also that's what the album is called, 2112. So there, I chose 2112. It tells a whole story, and in fact on YouTube, there's like they made a video of it. The Rush's Vivo YouTube channel, whatever, made a story about it with like art with illustrations. So like the whole song set to illustrations, like a comic book. So you guys could look that up as well. It's on YouTube. Should I link it? Maybe. Just look it up. You're already on YouTube if you're watching this. Next album is A Farewell to Kings. And my cut from A Farewell to Kings is the shortest one, Closer to the Heart. It's one of my favorite Rush songs. It's one of the songs that I know is kind of difficult, and I still learned how to play it, even when I wasn't that good of a bass player. I don't know why I like this song so much, but I do. Love it, actually. Closer to the Heart. Next album is Hemispheres. I really should pause so that we can like ding, like have the album artwork come up. But then the pause would look really stupid if like it didn't go to plan and I couldn't find all the album artwork to flash on the screen. Anyway, Hemispheres. I think the obvious choice here would be La Villa Strangiato, because I love it when Rush does instrumental stuff, because like their music doesn't really need to have words in order for it to be like really impactful and really wonderful. So you're gonna see that I'm going to choose a lot of instrumentals here. So the first one being La Villa Strangiato. Technically speaking, there's like a big chunk of Bytor and the Snow Dog from Fly By Night that's also instrumental, but obviously because it has a first verse and a last verse, and then like maybe 6 or 7 minutes of instrumentals in between, it's not instrumental. So La Villa Strangiato, it's like one of those when you like to watch your great musicians do great musician things on their instrument. La Villa Strangiato is that, and from all accounts, it's a very difficult song to play. So that's something that's really interesting as well. So that's something that's really interesting to pay attention to for musicians and non-musicians alike, is that this song is quite a complex song to play, and so therefore it's like the musician in me will be like, hey, cool. Plus, it's a Rush instrumental. Can't go wrong with that. Next album is Permanent Waves. It's one of those albums that's like really difficult to pick one song for, because there's so many good songs on Permanent Waves, but not as much as the next one, which is Moving Pictures. We're gonna get to that one, but the first one is. But first, we go to Permanent Waves. Pause for the thing again for the album art. My choice here is Natural Science. I'm trying to find songs that, like, you know what I mean? Because when people think of this album, they always think of Spirit of Radio, So for me, I wanted to find, and that's the thing, for these albums, I wanted to find sort of deep cuts, the kind of ones that are like not as well played as the others. So yeah, this is the album where Spirit of Radio comes from, but I chose Natural Science. There's that part in the middle where it becomes a little bit more rock from the sort of slow acousticy vibe of the beginning to the point where with the water going swooshing all over the place, up to the point where it becomes like scientifically like something like, how's it, synthesizery and kind of rock. I love that part, the part where it goes, I quantum leap forward. That part was awesome. I love that part, and because of that, I chose Natural Science. The next album is by far the most difficult album for me to choose one song out of because I love them all, and this album is called Moving Pictures. So, another thing is that the thing with Moving Pictures is that if I were to choose a deep cut as one of my favorite tracks, just for people to hear it more who watch this video, it will be very difficult because there really isn't a deep cut in Moving Pictures. Everybody's played all of their songs, all the songs on this album a lot. You know, I would say Camera Eye would be good, or Witch Hunt, you know, or to be honest, YYZ is also well played and an instrumental, and I would have chosen that, but I didn't because I chose Red Barchetta. It's another one of those songs where like Neil talks about when he was younger or whatever. But this is another song that I learned to play when I was not as good a bass player, or when I was at a level where I had no business playing this music, because I just really liked that song, and that is why I chose Red Barchetta. It I don't know, it resonated with me really well when I was younger. So I chose Red Barchetta. Next album, Signals from 1982. This is yet another album where it sort of transitions Rush from what you sound like from the 70s from their second album to, which is like 1975, to like 1981, which is like, because they were still kind of proggy, and then it turned, and then this is like sort of the transition into new wave Rush, and people would think, oh, this is the album where Subdivisions is in, and I didn't choose Subdivisions. Could have chosen Losing It, or I could have chosen anything else, but I chose Analog Kid, the Analog Kid. That's my choice from Signals. It's not, I don't think it's a deep cut, but it isn't as played by a lot of it. I don't think Rush played the song live in their set lists for a while. It's been a while since they played. You know, it's the same thing as like a the Farewell to King's cut, Closer to the Heart, which is one of my favorites. I found out that they didn't play Closer to the Heart in their live gigs for a long time, and they only started playing it during the Vapor Trails tour. But they only started playing it for Russian Rio. So for everybody who's watched the Russian Rio DVDs or the show, they only started playing it because it was a big hit in like Central America and South America, and so they played it for their fans in Brazil. I don't believe that Analog Kid has been played in Russia's set lists for a while, so that's kind of a deep cut here. Grace Under Pressure is a next album. I'm going to choose one where this is where Rush really became full synthesizer Rush, because they even had Red Sector A in it, where Geddy plays keyboard or plays synthesizer on it the whole time. Doesn't even play the bass on it. There's no bass on it. But for this, I chose Enemy Within. There's something about that the instrumentation of that song, or the tune of Enemy Within, that I like more than anybody else, and more than anything else on this album. I do love the album, and I think I've listened to it cover to cover about multiple times this year. You know, Not as often as the album that's an album after this, but Grace Under Pressure is one of the albums that I would listen to entirely, just for fun. And I chose The Enemy Within for this album. Next album is Power Windows. This is where we really get into deep cuts, because I don't think that they played this song this song isn't played a lot in anywhere, and I don't think that Rush performs it in their concerts lately. Not even, I don't know, maybe. And my choice is Territories. I like the chorus part. I also like the part where Geddy goes, and better beer, because I don't know, that just sounds. Yeah, that's my song, I guess. The next album is the album, like I was saying, is one of the albums that I play from beginning to end in one sitting, multiple times over the past few years. In fact, there was one time that while warming up for a jiu-jitsu competition, I was listening to Hold Your Fire. Oh, album art. From start to in its entirety while preparing for jiu-jitsu competition. And there are a lot of good songs on this album, but it was also very difficult to pick one from there. But I picked Mission because, come on, look up the lyrics. It's such a good. The lyrics are nice, but it's also a really good song. So Mission. This is sort of, for me, Rush went back to the next album is Presto. This is where Rush is like becomes modern Rush now, and there's like very little synthesizer stuff going on here, and they started becoming more of a straight ahead like rock and roll band again, but not like in the 70s, but more like more suitable for the times. And the first album is Presto, and also these are the albums that I started out listening to Rush with, because these were albums that came out during my time. You know, my favorite Rush album, my two favorite Rush albums of all time, after were released the year I was born, and in 1976, which is before I was born. So we're coming into the albums that are the Rush albums that introduced me to Rush, because they were albums that were launched in my time. And so this next album is Presto. Pause for album art. Hopefully I can get it to go ding. My cut is Anagram, because my friend and bandmate Paul pointed out to me the cool part about the lyrics on this one was that there's an anagram in every line of the song. If you don't believe me, look it up. Next album is Roll the Bones. Yet another album. This is actually the first album of Rush that I listened to, because it was like 1989 or something, or it came out, or 1990, or was it 1990? I don't know. I don't remember what year it was, but I was young, but I was into music already at the time. And so Roll the Bones. I could have picked Dreamline. I could have picked Bravado, which is a great song, because I love playing that song. I think the reason I like that song is in its simplicity. But my choice is The Big Wheel. Big Wheel. The Big Wheel? There's no the in it. Because there are a few songs with the in it, in the title, that I never said the. This one's called Big Wheel. I like the chorus part of it. The way it transitions to the chorus is really good. So I like Big Wheel. Big Wheel. The next album is Counterparts. I had a hard time choosing it, because as much as their whole album wasn't as good to me as how I would see Hold Your Fire. But there are but I do like a lot of the songs. The songs that I like on Counterparts, I really like them. They have Animate. They have Nobody's Hero. Everyday Glory is a very good track. But because of the way that Neil plays the tom fill during the Why the Sun part, Why the Sun, I chose Between the Sun and Moon. again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's like towards the end of the chorus where Getty sings "Why the sun." Listen to what the drums sound like there. It's like a tom fill that Neil does. It I think is the best part. So that's the my choice from Counterparts. Test for Echo is next. And I don't know, the obvious choice here would be Driven because bass solo. That's why. Bass solo. We move on. Sweet Miracle from Vapor Trails. My cut is Sweet Miracle. Oh, Sweet Miracle. Love the Sweet Miracle of life. That's the one. Next is Feedback. Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. That doesn't count. It's an album of cover songs. That doesn't count. But if anybody asks me, I guess Heart Full of Soul, maybe. It's not their music, and so I don't think that counts. So don't ask me. Let's move on. Next album is Snakes and Arrows. This was a little controversial because a lot of people don't actually like this song, but I do. And it just goes to show because this was like what year was this and how old were they? But they could still kick ass. And my choice in this album is Far Cry. I like that song. I really do. People don't like it. I don't get it. But people don't like that song. But I do. It just sounds good to me. And Rush's final studio album, Clockwork Angels, my choice for that is a song that sort of like listened to a lot since Neil passed. Because a lot of people who'd made tribute videos for him did use this song as their kind of tribute song. It's The Garden. The Garden. It actually is a really beautiful song because like musically it sounds very nice to the ear, but the lyrics are also very impactful. And and again, it reminds me a lot about Neil because I've seen so many tribute videos about when Neil passed last year, where they used this as a soundtrack, which I already said previously. And when you equate one thing to the other, you get that. So you get that relationship. For me, I believe that this is like the era of Rush after Vapor Trails, where I wish I had done more of a deep dive. But I didn't. I guess I should. So it was not that hard for me to pick songs from either one song from each album because, I'm not as familiar with all the songs, the songs on the last two albums. But luckily I was able to pick those two, because The Garden, I think it's one of the most beautiful songs that they've ever made. I think maybe okay, that's my list, guys. The link to the playlist of all of these songs are down below. So for the people who don't know Rush, are not familiar with their music, I would invite you to listen to them. Give them a good listen to. These guys are amazing musicians. Their music is amazing. A lot of proficient musicians in modern music right now. A lot of them see the guys from Rush, Geddy, Neil, and Alex, as their influence, they've shaped a lot of young musicians, such as myself, not even really that young, and the people that you see out there who are performing. So again, and then after you listen to the playlist that I made, feel free to go on another deep dive on all their music. They have a lot of music, I chose one song per album. That's about 19 or 20 songs per album. I don't even count all the stuff that they put out as live albums, and of course Feedback I didn't count because it's a album full of covers that influenced them. But yeah, so take a look, give them a listen. You're not gonna regret it. So signing off, guys. I've never actually asked anybody to subscribe to anything. To this channel, but if you guys really like my content, it's free. So what won't it, it won't hurt to subscribe. It's not like I'm asking you to pay me for anything. Everything is free. So please Thank you for watching.